Let's look at this with Alan Orr. He's an experienced immigration lawyer and joins us from Eagleville, Tennessee. Welcome to DW. Let's start with the president's thinking here. He says this ban will keep America safe. What do you think?
So I think that's a little bit of a fiction, because if our State Department as it's set up now hasn't kept us safe for all this time, then how is this ban actually going to change that when there's no real threat? When you sort of look at the numbers and the chances that someone from any of these countries would ever do something that would be a serious threat to the United States, the statistics are like 1 in 3.6 million of a chance. So it's much less just selling something. It's a political distraction.
That would be my next question. So if you believe that this is not to make America safe, what do you believe the thinking behind it to be?
Yeah, so I think it's a distraction from some of the economic frailties that he's having right now with the bills in Congress, but also I think it's part of what his promise was to sort of go against certain nations. And right now, this is a very starch hit against Africa and Muslim countries, which he also plans to close 8 embassies in Africa this year. So he's sort of fulfilling his promise with saying there's a certain type of immigrant that is welcome in this country. I remind everyone that in order to come to the United States, you go through a very rigorous vetting system through the State Department, which is one of the best in the world. So to sort of say that now you have to ban everyone rather than vet them and deny them, as we've done for almost centuries now, is really problematic.
So is this ban likely to face legal challenges like he faced in Trump 1?
I think there will be some challenges, but I don't think that they'll be successful, because what the Trump administration has done now is learned from the Supreme Court in 2018 that sort of gave him these rights and this runway in a political arena. So while he can do these things, what I wonder is this the right time to do these things? Because as you know, the United States this year is hosting a lot of international events, starting with FIFA this year, but along with most of North America. And what this ban does is it keeps a lot of the fans from being able to come to the United States, which is a lot of the economic reasons that the United States wanted to host it in the first place. So it's sort of a bad timing to sort of have this implemented when so many people will be trying to come to the United States to spend money and to also see these games.
Let's continue along that path. How else do you see this ban disadvantaging the United States?
I think it sort of shows that the United States is not the beacon welcome that it is, right? Our whole thing about being the United States is that we're welcoming, we're able to vet people, and we see people individually. And by saying that one individual from Egypt, which is not even included on the list, causes us to have great concerns about all these different arenas and areas for people that we could have vet through the State Department, sort of says, is the United States this beacon of welcoming people, and how this will hurt our international systems? And are we, as an established nation, if we're really concerned about these smaller countries letting one individual in to disrupt our total system? It doesn't really celebrate the uniqueness and the position of the United States with regards to international intelligence.
All right. And what about people from the countries affected? Are they likely to be adversely affected beyond not being able to get into the country? Has he given sufficient notice for people to sort of get their affairs in order?
Well, I mean, so in order to come to the United States, it generally takes about a year to get a visa. So many of these people won't have their affairs in order, and they might have to cancel their visas effects. We've seen one African nation basically do a ban on United States citizens. We've seen another Somalia say, we'll reach out and do whatever we can. What happens in this is it becomes a moving target to what will satisfy the United States to allow them to lift the travel ban for you to come to the United States. So, and that's not clear in the order. So what is clear is that he just wants to send a message that he can do this, and this is a way that the Supreme Court said that he could do it. What it does is disrupts the whole ecosystem of sort of saying, this is who the State Department is, and what we do is we vet visas from around the world. I mean, why is it not that? I mean, even saying that it's about visa overstays isn't a direct link to a threat to the United States, because there are other countries that have many more visa overstays than the countries that are on the list. And he's looking to also end a lot of humanitarian programs for many of these countries and return individuals to these countries in the United States, while at the same time saying they're not safe places to go. So it's a very inconsistent statement coming from the White House with regards to these countries, their situations, and what our game plan is, and exactly what the threat is to the United States.
Just looking at the deportations that have happened in the US of suspected gang members and of students, people from these 12 countries who are already in the US, can they consider themselves safe?
So, I mean, that's a really precarious question, in which the Venezuelan sort of said anyone in the United States who is from Venezuela right now is in the spectrum. So the answer is, if you're already here, you should be consider yourself safe in a valid status. If you're out of status, then everyone who's out of status is a target within the United States. automatically. So there's a spectrum. If you have status and you're on your valid visa and you're doing what you need to do, then you should have no problem right now in the United States. If you are out of status in the United States, it is a very troubling time, and you should be looking for some way to either gain status or to return to your home country or some other country where you can seek refuge.
Right. So if you already have a visa, as I understand it, this ban will not apply to you. So what would you advise your clients if they're from one of the countries on this list? Should they travel abroad?
No, right? So travel abroad right now is not recommended for any category of my clients, even if you're a green card holder and have had one for a long time, just because there's so many different things that we can't control at the State Department. And once you're outside the United States, it's difficult to get back in. So if you are in the United States and you're one of these affected countries, then you should not travel to come back to the United States. You definitely should not travel internationally. I would not go to Hawaii or to Puerto Rico. If you are outside the United States and you are planning to come to the United States, then you would need to have done that or put that in effect before June 9th. If you don't make it to the United States by June 9th, then you will not be allowed in, even if you currently have a visa from these countries.
Right. And what about the exemptions to this ban? How far-reaching are they?
They're very far-reaching, but it doesn't really show clear specifications. So there are some immigrant visas from Afghan that have been excluded, who, if you are able to get here anyway, just because of the circumstances, there are people who actually have a green card, so they're excluded because that's what we learned from the Supreme Court before. And then there are other very few exceptions. So across the board, the exceptions aren't broad enough to sort of reach the main categories of people who are going to be impacted, which are students who are coming on Fs, Js, or Ms to the United States to study or continue their education, or researchers who are coming here to continue research occupations. That's also going to be sort of hit pretty hard, is a lot of this international research that happens across continents.
Good talking to you. Thanks for talking us through that. Immigration lawyer Alan Orr. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.